Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's weekend free show. This is our Broiler Chicken Show. Back. Who knows if this is going to carry on in the future. But it's a nice little slice of time and experience. Maybe through the fall and the winter we'll wind up all these YouTube offerings and stuff. So take advantage of it while it's here. Might as well. I mean, what the hell? Don't charge you anything for this. And if anything, if you do know somebody that's sort of new to trading and is serious about wanting to be a trader. I mean, the worst part about these kind of silly runaway bull markets is you get so many people that come in and say, oh, I'm a trader. And they're really only a trader as long as the market's moving one direction. As soon as the market rolls over and heads the other direction, then all of a sudden, hey, look at that shiny object over there. So, but if somebody in, the weird thing is I've been playing this game forever. You can definitely tell the people that really are traders. I mean, they just have it in their blood. It's beautiful to stumble upon them. And hopefully I can help them and help you if you happen to be someone along those lines. It's a trader's life is really, it's a passion of things like trying to understand human psychology, trying to understand behavioral economics, trying to understand the fabric of the universe, sort of the way we're, and it's sort of like we stumbled upon some really cool mathematical concepts where you just see them play out in the marketplace. And ironically enough, I actually have come to believe that even the stock operators themselves, they don't even really have any control over these price movements. Actually, I was watching, Google's got all these the Big Short, obviously now super popular, I suppose, with all the financial crisis talk out there. It's happening again. Just watching through, I never watched the full video, but I did watch all the little clippets on YouTube. Pretty intense video. A movie, actually. It wasn't at all what I was expecting, but anyway, doesn't matter. Point there is that, even quote-unquote experts, they really couldn't explain the runaway bull market. Actually, there's a great scene in that movie where a CDO broker is trying to explain how not only were there CDOs through that event, but what ended up happening was there were what they called synthetic CDOs. So it was like a whole organism unto itself that just was absolutely out of control. And the problem actually was far bigger than any sort of expert could possibly understand. And, I hate to say it, but that's actually what, 50 years on the planet, Brian Beamish. And there's a funny joke going around this site. Is my name really Brian Beamish, or is this actually kind of a cool identity I've given myself, and none of you actually know what my real identity is? But which I thought was hilarious. I mean, do people actually think that I would go to those legs? But anyway, I don't know where am I. Point here is anytime an expert says that they figured it out and they know exactly how something works, odds are they're probably wrong. I always find it amusing that, and it doesn't matter whether it's Galileo or whether it's, Cortez or any of them over the years. Anytime somebody goes to this sort of talking heads and says, well, I don't think it actually works that way. I think it works this way. And of course, all the university tenured people go, no, you're wrong. And then, eventually down the road, they're corrected. And, oh, yeah, well, I guess he was right after all. So, I get a little leery when I hear quote unquote experts in the marketplace. Actually, there was one lady who has just become like a rock star fund manager. And then all of a sudden, her fund put in the most incredible head and shoulders top, and the prices started to correct in earnest. And now all these, of course, newfound experts that fell in love with this one hedge fund manager who thought, and it wasn't even a hedge fund, it was just a fund that was invested in a very specific part of the market. And that part of the market happened to be doing really, really well. So all of a sudden, new people to investing see this one fund take off, and they think she just walks on water. When the irony of it all is that I think she even knew that, okay, somehow I have to talk these kids down. They don't understand how the market works. And I heard her saying it was beautiful to this young little investor guy who's just started out, and he's full of piss and vinegar, and he doesn't really know what he's doing. And she's actually saying to him, well, my fund's underperformance right now is actually a good thing. Which is great. And he's sitting there going, I'm losing money and it's a good thing? I love it. Oh, goodness. So as soon as you think you figured out, like somebody in the lounge just there, and it's so great. Each and every one of these cycles, there's always a big whack of experts that come out of the woodwork right at the top. I know exactly what's going to happen in the future, and I know exactly what to do, and when the top is going to come in. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. It's so cliche how cliche this shit is. Oh, well, crazy Brian. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think everybody now hopefully has a damn good appreciation for Jupiter-Saturn crosses. And, we can look back on those astrologers and go, gee whiz, I guess they were right when they said 6 different celestial events all happening in the same year? We haven't seen this in a million years. And, oh, Jesus Christ, the whole damn planet's going to go into chaos. And sure enough, that's exactly what's happened. Oh, goodness. I sure hope we live through all this, but, I suppose, I don't know, does it even matter? Actually it's interesting. What I have noticed is, and I kind of thought this might happen a year or so ago, I sort of conjectured that by the end of this experience, most people are going to look at guys like me and say, it's a waste of time. Just fucking go FOMO buy. YOLO, right? You only live once. Elon Musk is going to make me rich. Why would I go to a financial planner, financial advisor? That's a waste of time. And I hate to say it, but I think that's exactly what's happening. I see it all over the place. I would suggest that try not to get too wrapped up in the short term of this. This might go right on into the fall. And try to play from a position of strength. And the problem here is that the markets will sort of grind on. And after a while, you're going to hear people say, trade location doesn't matter. Indicators don't matter. It's just never ending going up. And literally within a day or two of people sort of saying that publicly, boom, the floor falls out. Price drops like 20%. And everybody starts freaking out. So, if you are just a market participant and you're coming in and you're like, oh my God, this is crazy. What do I do? Probably, Brian's chicken, what by nature. So understand, I'm going to try and slow you down. I'm going to try and convince you to take a little less risk. I'm going to try and convince you to try and clearly identify what it is that you actually wanted to get out of whatever it was that you were investing in. And when that happens, for God's sakes, pay yourself. I remember in 17 market, it's probably a little bit different sort of feel. But 17 market, had lots of people through 17 come to me. Brian, hey, I'm a millionaire now. Thank you so much. Awesome. You got me in. And then, 6-8 months later, halfway through 2018, you didn't hear from them again. They literally wrote it all the way up and wrote it all the way back down. Try not to let that happen to be you. I like the idea that if you're going to buy something, maybe sell half of it if it doubles, triples, quadruples, whatever. At least, you're playing with the market's money. Yeah, if the market collapses, so what? I try to play the investing game as more of like a video game, where I'm actually trying to win at the video game. And then that way, I don't really give a shit about the actual dollar implications of the trades. And I think that's where most people, when it comes to quote unquote investing and trading, that's where they fail. Whenever I invest or trade something, I like to ask myself, and that's half of the reason why I built the damn website. I ask myself, if somebody else saw this trade, would they go, ooh, that's kind of cool. I'd like to emulate that. I'd like to replicate that. I'd like to do more of that. And, the funny thing is I can look at anything right now, and I can instantly say, yeah, you know what? That's a pretty damn good looking buy. Or, oh, jeez, good luck. Pretty instantly. I've been playing this game so long that it's really obvious now to me what is got a pretty good chance of making you some pretty good money versus, it's a flip of the coin. So half of what I'm trying to do right now, and it works to my advantage, because if you follow the process and you play the video game correctly, then theoretically you get to the end and you kill Bowser, right? And you get high score, and high score in this case might be Lambos or whatever monetary unit you want to associate winning with. But more importantly, it's playing the video game correctly, jumping when you're supposed to jump, double jump when you're supposed to double jump, and try and I remember I used to play pinball way eons ago, and the goal was to try and get like a free ball, right? And if I remember, there's this one pinball machine that we used to play in university, ride the Ferris wheel, and you just would rack up free balls. So you'd be sitting there playing the video game, you look up, I got 53 free balls. Okay, well, I think I'm pretty good. I could let a couple go and I'll still be perfectly fine. And you sit there and play the damn pinball game for like 10 hours straight. So that's the way I like to approach the market, is if you know what the rules are, the process, and then you just follow the rules, believe it or not, making money at trading is easy. I mean, it's ridiculously stupid how easy this is. Problem is, I tell you, it's almost impossible getting you guys to follow the rules. Well, I don't get it. Hell, I've been working with one guy for 7 years. Can't get him to follow the rules. And he's sort of floundering along. He's missed some just absolutely stunning money in his time period because he's not following the rules. Problem is, I can't convince people to follow the rules. Only you can convince yourself. All right, enough bullshit. I'm only going to trade a setup that's actually a valid setup. Ooh, there's an idea. If the stop level is hit, I'm going to get out. Ooh, there's a crazy idea. I'm not going to risk more than 5% of my portfolio on any one single idea. Ironically enough, those are just some of the most simplest, easiest rules, but it's impossible to get you people to follow them. I don't know why. So, like I said, half of the reason why I built this website is I just simply want to demonstrate the rules of the video game to you guys and just keep doing this over and over and over. And oh, by the way, I happen to see my net worth go up quite a bit. And the cool part about it is I don't collect any Google ad revenue. I don't care how many viewers there are of this channel. If you were meant to learn, if you reached out to the universe and said, God, please, I need some help. I'm willing to let my ego go. Just point me to somebody that can at least tell me how to do this right without fucking, Joey Diamond trying to screw you over. And I think, to a certain degree, some people that actually asked the universe for help were actually sent here. We don't really heavily market this. I don't even really want to heavily market this. And if you were meant to stumble upon me, there's a gentleman who's done beautiful notes, and I saw that he was posting comments about Feigenbaum, so he's added all the chaos stuff to his notes. I mean, technically, if you watch this channel on the weekends, you should be able to teach this yourself, but I'm not going to say that's easy. And that's why we actually put the school program together to it's really week by week by week we force feed you exactly the rules, the process. And then, hey, if you can't follow the process after you've been force fed for 12 weeks straight, well, there's not really much more I can do to help you. I mean, good luck, and it's actually really depressing to watch people. We've laid out the path. It's as clear as day, and yet they still can't follow the process. Drives you crazy. But, oh well. I mean, I can only bang my head against the wall so many times. I suppose one good thing, I hope it's a good thing. I don't know whether it's a good or bad thing, but didn't really have many questions follow up from the students this week in the Level 1 program. So as I said, either that means we're doing a really awesome job or we're doing a really shitty job. I don't know which. I have to say, the Wookiee and his office hours, along with Sharktoshi and Kavarkinator, I don't think you could have a better sort of support staff to learn this Level 1 program stuff. It's to set you up for success, and I think TRI and the management team and the sort of karmic experience, I think that is absolutely perfect. So thank you, Grim. Thank you, Sharky. Thank you, Kavarkinator. I mean, literally, I couldn't put together a better team to teach new people to trading. And then our level 2 instructor, Kieran, oh my goodness. I mean, he actually wants to get a prop firm. There's one gentleman on the site who kind of keeps sort of half-assing. He comes in full of piss and vinegar. I'm going to be a day trader. I'm going to do this. And I'm like, okay, fine. Define your setup. Show me your risk parameters. Show me the trade. Show me 10 straight logged entry trades, paper trades, no mistakes. Okay, I'm going to do it. 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 He does one. I look at the chart. Not a valid setup. So I tell him, go back to the drawing board, start again. I want to see a valid setup trade. Crickets. Haven't heard anything. And the funny thing is I see the trades popping off all over the place. There was a great one yesterday that just, nice, beautiful entry. Move stop to scratch was hit, and the market rallied back. Move stop to scratch was taken out. Now, you could have had the move stop to scratch, or you could have just left it alone. I suppose we could walk through the trade with you here today. But you can't tell me there aren't setups coming all over the place. I mean, they're everywhere. But I can't force you to follow the rules of the game. Only you can do it on your own. But, to this gentleman, and I think he knows who I'm talking about if he's listening, my advice to you is quit making excuses. And if you are very serious, and this is what I love about Kiran, is the guy is a day trader. He's already gone through my old prop firm's testing, and actually he's made so much money, he's like, I might as well just do it on my own. And he's our level 2 instructor, and he's actually said, hey, look, I will sit down with people, but no bullshit. Quit fucking around. You got to do this right. What is your setup? let me see those setups and only those setups. Actually, he even has a service on the site that he's got up and running. And it's fascinating because I remember this, and Kiran, if you're listening to this, you're going to run into this dude. That this business, sadly, a lot of sort of wannabes, all talk, no action. When the rubber hits the road, they just vanish. So don't be surprised, Kiran, if you do find that a lot of people that are sort of initially interested actually never follow through. That was a classic hallmark of my prop firm days. Used to see just the most incredible turnover. Because, and it makes sense too, because really, 95% of the public can't do this job. You can't do this job. It's just beyond you. And that's okay. I mean, there's a reason why these trader dudes make so much money. It is very difficult. It is hard work. So, if anything, maybe you go through the whole education process and process, and then you actually see what it takes to be a real live day trader, understanding, even the pit traders themselves told me to my face that they look for 55% accuracy. That means they're getting stopped out 45% of the time. That's a lot of wrong. And most people in the public just can't handle being wrong that often. That's the key to this. And that's why most people in the public can't do this job. You have to be able to eat a lot of humble pie. Can you imagine these guys that go on social media, hundreds of thousands of daily viewers of their videos and shit, and they have to go on and say, man, I got stopped out in the first 10 minutes, hit my daily loss limit. That's it today, guys. See you tomorrow. And that is actually a real trader's life. And the worst part about it is, I keep saying this. I've been saying this for 7 years, and nobody wants to hear this message. They want to hear that this is really easy. You're going to make $1 million. All you got to do is just YOLO FOMO. Whatever Elon Musk says, just buy it. Guaranteed to make money. It just doesn't work that way. Oh, well. There's my rant for the day. Rant. Ironically enough, if you play the game correctly and you follow the process, this kind of stupidity happens. What's so hilarious about these kind of things, and this is kind of a funny one because I have like a ton of symbols all on one chart. So this is actually a chart of mana. Mana, there it is. And this is in US dollar terms. And this was my original buy. Then I sold half of the position on a double, but because I sell half, that means I keep all of the original. I still have these coins, half of them on the books. But what was really cool about this one is waited for consolidation, and in Bitcoin terms, I was able to go through 0.05 BTC or something at this. Here, get my original 0.05 BTC back. Have my free coins now, and then Bitcoin works its way, or excuse me, Mana works its way back down versus Bitcoin. So I take that original Bitcoin, go and buy the position back, and actually you can see it a little bit better on this chart. So there's my original buy, sold half on a double, tanked all the way back down, said what the hell, why don't I just go strap it on again? And it was so funny about this one. I was sort of like, well, these are my free coins. So, it's not like I really have to worry. And I looked out of the corner of my eye the other day, and Mana's doing this. And I was like, well, this technically should be my second sell half on a double level for my original coins. So what the hell? why don't we throw these ones up for sale at the same time? So I got a hell of a win off here the other day. But it's not like I was sitting there pounding the table going, oh, Mana's gonna go up 10x this year. What is that? Hell no, that's probably even more than 10x. That's under a dime to over $1. Actually, this is basically probably what's going to happen to Doge through this year. Now, is it because Doge is so wonderful and Elon Musk is part of the equation? Is it because Decentraland is so wonderful that the asset price like goes up 10x? I don't think it has anything to do with that. This is all about, Cole says rising tide lifts all boats. But this is not a rising tide. This is, you remember when the tsunamis hit Indonesia and shit like that back like 10 years ago? And the water, like, have you ever seen the videos of the tsunami and then the tidal forces of the water just coming in and just surging? Well, really, that's what's going on here right now. I find it kind of sad that somebody would actually look at this, there's the Decentraland chart. I mean, it doesn't really matter whether it's Decentraland or whether it's Bitcoin. I mean, the same damn thing. I mean, the chart's exactly the same. I mean, this is what, it probably makes me very unpopular in sort of the crypto universe kind of thing. I actually consider Bitcoin just another shitcoin. It's just another one of these cryptocurrencies, right? And it's a function of those demographic cycles, like you're saying over there on YouTube, Ming. You're right to a certain degree. I was sharing on the site, level 3ers, of course, having a lot of fun. But I was really touched. Touched by an uncle. There was, maybe I should say, sniffed by an uncle. In the level 3 program, and actually I don't think he's in the level 3, but a site member sent me this just incredible book, beautiful book on WD and I was sharing some of the images with the site members in class yesterday. Such a cool image. Of course, I always have a hard time finding the damn thing. Damn, now it's gone again. Why do I keep doing this? Doesn't make any sense. Where the hell is it? Give me a second here. Why do I? Isn't that bizarre? This is exactly the same thing that happened the other day, and I couldn't find the damn image for like a half an hour. Maybe I have it over in the little stock pickers club room. Where is that? God, we got so many darn rooms on this site. TRISOF. Okay, is it over here? Colleen, just the absolute rock star trader. Man, it's so cool watching her at work. Nope, not there either. What the fuck did I do with this goddamn thing? Does anybody have that picture that I was sharing on the site yesterday? Any of you level 3ers? I guess I can try and Google it. Sorry for taking so long. What was the guy's name? Benner? I think it was Benner. Yeah, there it is. So this is actually a pretty famous image. This gentleman actually wrote this forecast out like 200 years ago. So what do you think? I think he's actually pretty good, eh? If you actually look at some of these numbers, they're insane. So I don't know whether you can see this or not, but this, remember, like this was written 200 years ago. You can see psycho pivots. 1981, right? That Jupiter-Saturn cross. You hear Brian talk about the fear-greed cycle, how the interest rate market turned in March of 1982. Of course, the dot-com boom and long-term capital management, the Russian default. Basically, that was the official collapse of the Soviet Union whatever the form of that. After that default, it disappeared from history. And really, you could argue the Russian, the Soviet Union itself was in collapse, and then finally, when Boris defaulted, that was it. And then, of course, that transition, and probably in the West, I think we're probably going to actually see the same thing. So, ironically enough, Mr. Orange Toupee, I got a funny feeling he might actually turn into like a Napoleon, or, and he's probably thinking I would rather be like a Putin type character, where I just come in and I just murder anybody or poison them, anybody that stands in my way. And Iron Fist, and just keep it nice and cool and nice and in control, and basically dominate my country until I die. So be prepared, you Americans. I could see that happen. Canadians, I don't think it'll happen. If anything, I would expect the United States to dissolve and sort of crunch into like a civil war. But make no mistake about it. Like 80% of the Canadian population lives within like 100 miles of the U.S. border. So Canadians, you're definitely in the mix here. Be interesting to see how the Mexico, southern United States situation goes over the next 20, 30 years. Fascinating. So, there's your dot-com peak. And, if you're thinking like value and sort of the best standard of living, that was the top. Then fear cycle. Gee whiz, look how we painted this. 2019. That was pretty damn accurate. Remember, this was drawn like 200 years ago. That's freaky ass shit, eh? 2007, I remember my sell signal on the S&P 500 came in March of 2007. And of course, it was only 2008 that you actually saw that the public actually realized how bad the situation was. But actually, the stock market broke in March of 2007. So it is interesting how heading into early January, remember I was squawking about all those damn options on the S&P 500, and Cool Kelly Loeffler, remember Cool Kelly? And all their insider trading, just brutal market manipulation. Obviously, they knew that there was some sort of massive cycle top. I do find it interesting that if you listen to the talking heads in our society, especially the bankers, and this is what really bugs me, is the bankers are basically lying to our faces now. So we had this really cool study of M2 money supply and the bankers printing money to inflate their way out of this debt situation. In essence, monetizing the debt, and currency itself is collapsing in value, and the purchasing power of the currencies, because all of these central bankers are doing this all in collusion, they're trying to have it come across in the public that these currencies are not collapsing in value. But let's call a spade a spade. That's, their manufactured CPI indexes are just nonsense. Just go outside and look at what a loaf of bread costs you. I think in last week's Broiler Chickens, I went through the, tuna fish sandwich that I used to buy and the relative price. I mean, inflation is everywhere. So if we actually take the dilution effect out of the currency base, the chart sort of looks like this. The U.S. Federal Reserve was actively printing the amount of M2 money supply out in the marketplace, and this is stock prices adjusted given that M2 money supply change. And you notice there is that, remember that image we were just showing you there a moment ago. I think right here, 1999, that was the cycle peak. I think you could make an argument in real terms. This cycle peak that we had in 2019, 2020, where this is a shadow of our former selves. Now, the problem with this now, and you notice, hey, it's starting to perk up. It's starting to really rocket. No, turns out that the U.S. Federal Reserve and, Mr. Powell himself, he was grilled at length by politicians in Washington in his last public speak there. And you could see the very noticeable concern on his face every time these politicians kept asking him, well, you guys have blown up the M2 money supply. Doesn't that imply price inflation? And we see prices around our society exploding higher. And Mr. Powell kept saying, no. M2 money supply adjustments, they don't matter. We don't consider that inflationary. Fuck you. Fuck you. That's such fucking banker. Fuck you. They're bending us over the table and fucking us up the ass. There's an image for you, YouTube. No Tide laundry detergent there, my friends. But honestly, I mean, when I listen to that, it's that he is blatantly lying to the U.S. politicians right to their faces. And then, mysteriously, right after that, the U.S. Federal Reserve, in their great wisdom, decided we are no longer going to publish publicly M2 money supply data. Talk about an absolute, complete slap in the face. When I saw that, I was just like, fine. It's rigged. The fix is in. If anything, I was a little disappointed because Mr. Powell, I actually kind of looked at him and I kind of thought, maybe we can believe in this guy. Maybe he's not going to really just totally fuck us. But unfortunately, no. It's just not the case. Now, the situation here, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Who's to actually really to be blamed here? Now, if you were going to point the fingers, and really, this is a conversation nobody wants to have, and it's why probably I don't get very many upvotes, and it's probably why I don't have a lot of followers. But, who's actually to blame here? Do we actually sit here and say, well, this is the bankers' fault? No, it's not their fault. Remember, the bankers, they don't give a fuck. They don't care. One way or the other, right? I mean, just like most bankers, they're like lifers in the bureaucracy. They go into the workforce, and if you go into the banking industry, I hate to say it, it's a very close-ended industry. Once you go in, you don't come out. The only time you come out for most people in our society is when you get the gold watch and your retirement pension and you're sent off into the sunset, right? Into retirement. That's the way our society works. So I don't think you can actually say it's an agenda to undermine the government by the banks. The banks are just there. They want to stay in business and they want to just keep doing their business. And, let's call a spade a spade. Are they going to dissuade democratically elected politicians from doing policies that they know are going to work in the banker's favor, i.e. spend more money than you have, go into debt, and live on credit cards? And in essence, you're now a slave to interest. Is that good economic policy? No. But the weird thing is about our society is when the economy turns down and we have democratically elected politicians, the guy that's standing up there saying, I will get you jobs, I will get you work, I will, put food in your mouth, versus the guy standing there going, well, this is the end of a long economic expansion. The economy should contract. The velocity of money is a little too fast. We don't really want inflation, so we're probably going to have to go through a few years of belt tightening here just to keep us on a level ground. Now, who's going to get elected in that environment? I mean, it's just as blatant as that, folks. And somebody says here, well, regulations and stuff are there to put you in place. But in my lifetime, what I've seen is that those same politicians will stand up on the pulpit and they will point fingers at the regulators and at the regulation and say, the reason why you don't have a job is because of that regulator and the red tape that comes out of whatever capital city it is that you're talking about. You know, whether it be statewide or federal or fucking Klaus and world governments. Nothing changes. It's exactly the same. So who's really to blame here? I mean, honestly, folks. And, you know, at the end of the day, how does this all sort of finish? Well, sadly, one word and one word only. And it solves the problem very quickly because, ironically enough, the financial services industry will actually back both sides, and they will put a clause in both sides for loans to fund their military aspirations. They will put a clause right in the loans that says that if you borrow this money from us, then it is agreed if you win, you will honor the debts of the vanquished. So then that way, you know, financial services industry doesn't lose. When that war is complete, there will be a new monetary base established, and we start the whole fucking thing all over again. Kind of sad, but anyway, there's the history of humanity in a nutshell. So, here we are in the end game of probably about a 60, 70-year process that's been building since basically the end of the Second World War. I think you could make the argument that as long as we had this war on communism and this sort of East versus the West, that it was justifiable to spend more money than you had. We gotta win this war. What I'm a little disappointed about is that the West won the war, and if you were actually a good Keynesian economics person, you would actually take those good times and you would actually pay down all of the debts incurred. Like when Mr. Reagan said, hey, you know, we can go spend money we don't have. Let's deficit spend. Well, we're fighting a Cold War, so we got to win the war. Okay, fine. You won the war. But what happened after that? Did the United States of America pay down its debts? No. In fact, it went into more debt. And what was such a piss-off for like a guy like Brian here in Canada was that the period from 2000 to 2020 was supposed to be all about hard asset preference, people getting out of growth, people, you know, running into bonds to pay for their retirement, to run into their houses and just live in their houses, right? And just live off the equity, reverse mortgages kind of stuff. But what that implied was that Canada actually went through a good economic time, high demand for commodities. So theoretically, Keynesian economics, Canada should have taken that opportunity to pay down as much debt as possible and set itself up as a very strong country going forward so that when we're in a non-commodity type environment, which we are now going through next 15 years, they're not so strapped. And keep in mind, at the last bottom of the commodity market, the country of Canada almost broke up. It almost went exactly the same way as I told you with how countries die. And frankly speaking, at the end of this next commodity cycle, I fully expect the exact same thing to happen to this country of Canada. I'd be really surprised if at the end of this this particular greed cycle, Canada even exists anymore. I would be surprised in this form. You know, like back in the 90s, we used to kick around this thing called the Amero. I wonder if any of you guys ever heard of the Amero. But the last fear cycle, 1980, same sort of thing. Canada, Mexico basically bankrupt through that following recession, 81, 82, which is what I think is going to happen here. There was a lot of active talk that the U.S., Mexico, and Canada were all going to merge. And it was called, the currency was called the Amero. I wouldn't be saying, that would be a way to get out of this U.S. hegemony disaster. I don't think we're going to go that direction. It seems to me this digital currency revolution might actually undermine that Amero kind of thinking. I wonder if cryptocurrencies and digital currencies, if they had come out before the days of the euro and good old Helmut Kohl, I wonder if the euro would ever happen to begin with. I bet it wouldn't have. But anyway, that's here nor there. So, point of the matter here is that thanks to our central planners, they're trying to even take away sort of real images that we use to try and understand what's happened to the purchasing power of money and assets in real terms. I find it fascinating that they've taken this away. Now, from what I understand, they've replaced it with a monthly data report set. So if any of you that are on the inside of TradingView, TradingView has to change it. I think the acronym is like M2L3 or something like that the Fed's publishing. So if anybody knows of TradingView, I don't ever talk to TradingView. But if you do and you'd like these studies updated so that we're back to being able to use real data, it'll only update on a monthly basis. But still, it'll at least give us an idea of what in real dollar terms these assets actually look like. Oh boy, what a rant. I don't know. Am I saying anything of any value? I kind of went off the deep end there with regard to Mr. Powell and his... Yeah, look over there on YouTube. Oh God, I'm going to get into trouble, aren't I? One of these days, I swear, I'm setting myself up that I've got a nice long fucking prison term in a work camp somewhere coming to me, don't I? Oh well, what can you do? I suppose if I just made one small positive difference in your guys' life, remember, and I was telling people on the site and in these videos here, the 18th of March here, 2021 is a terrible anniversary for me. So it's a 10-year anniversary of my wife passing. So I'm kind of going off the deep end a little bit recently. My apologies. Also, too, this is the Ides of March, which historically is a tough time, anxiety in the market-wise anyway. We also have an EVU coming up here, which is a planetary relationship that often affects market price. Here on the 20th and I think it's the 19th. And OG Wiz, we have a big quarterly, probably like triple witching event, maybe even quadruple witching, with a whole bunch of derivatives expiring here at the end of this week. And I would imagine a lot of those trades were put on exact 1 year ago. And that's the interesting thing about this market state is, this has been one directional for exactly 1 year. You guys in the Bitcoin space, you all know this. That markets, you guys got schooled there hard a couple years ago on this. I don't know whether any of you guys learned this or not, but sure hope so. Let's see, where the hell are those damn charts? I guess this is over here, eh? This is almost exactly 1 year anniversary, right? So our low there on Bitcoin was March 13th, 2020. So that is basically 1 year now. What's our high here? March. Holy shit. Really? No way. Wouldn't that be freaky if that was the high? Oh my god, that would just be crazy. What date is this? March 13th. Son of a bitch. And that high. March 13th. Wow. Freaky. 61.7, 81.33, 61.7. Oh, no. So, yeah. We might have just seen the coast to coast there, folks. Boom. Boom. 1 year exactly. And if you don't believe me, check this out. I mean, it's fucking freaky as hell. What's the date there? 19666. Who's driving this bus, I wonder, right? What's the date there? December 17th, 2017. Yeah, what's the low here? December. Oh, actually, maybe it wasn't. I thought it was 1 full year. December 15th. That's close. I seem to remember, though, that it was exactly 1 year. But guess not. December 15th, 2018. What did we say this high was? December 17th. Oh, isn't that weird? I could have sworn I remember that was exactly 1 year. Well, guess I'm stand corrected. Anyway, point of the matter here is that, these 1 year price swings, that's actually pretty normal. I don't know whether this is the top. Everybody go, oh, Brian Beaver's calling top. I'm not fucking calling anything. I couldn't give a rat's ass. But don't be surprised. These markets, they love to move in these 1 year swings. I suppose for the traders, and I was kind of putting this out recently, I do get the impression there's a pretty good little long setup that came in there about a week or so ago, right through this. I think I had put out, off of here. There was actually a couple different ways to skin this cat. And I saw the crazy kids are up to it again. I don't think it's a good idea to get too emotionally wrapped up in these kind of trades. Hats off to social media people that did buy in here. Great job. Not really a setup for me. I mean, the divergence in RSI sets up, okay, market's stronger than you think. I think for a guy like me, this probably was the trade. Nice W. Brian and his crazy W's. Produced a nice 2-to-1, move stop to scratch, maybe let half of it go, move stop to scratch on remaining, and right now you don't even give a shit. Your stop's down here on whatever you got left, and this thing's just gonna do what it does. As well, there's another setup that I like to trade called the Bot, which is actually a setup I used when I was crude oil prop trading. And it wants one low. I don't know whether you'd count that, but 2 lows, 3 lows. We got a nice little W, so you could call this like front running the Bot. Same sort of logic. Move stop to scratch at 50% of the move. Move stop to trailing. Actually start locking in some profits at 66. And it looks to me like it's wanting to reach up into this 70, 72 area. I think also too from an extension level, we often see markets like to go to 144.5, which is sort of a midpoint between 127.2 and 1.618. I wonder though, if this market really gets a head of steam behind it. This is kind of a fun concept that we've been sort of working with on the site for the past year, this chaos theory and Feigenbaum constants. And I do see that quite often there's actually like 3 levels, 2.618, 4.669, and 8.77. And they're kind of a function of both Fibonacci ratios and simple algebra of those ratios. But what I often see over the past year is, you use each of these levels, I think, are respective price objectives. Let's see, there's 4.669. I don't know whether I have 2.77 on here. No. go. And there's that, but where the hell is that coming from? Oh, there's 2.669 off of that one. I mean, it's kind of funny when you're trying to go through, okay, how do you do this? I mean, there's so many of them. I don't know whether I'm even an authority yet to be able to give tutorials, but I do find it funny people on the internet are now starting to give tutorials on this. I was like, okay. But I think my basic logic on this is, think of this as like a war zone. There's like lots of energy built up through the war zone. I'm a bull, I'm a bear, I'm a bull, I'm a bear, I'm a bull. So if we do happen to resolve the war zone, kind of think of it as like a battle line, right? So let's say we've got the I don't know, we'll say the 292nd Alabama Riflery Regiment. Alabama! Bama! The Alabama 292nd Riflery Regiment, they're holding the line right here. And then down here, we've got the, we'll call them the, I don't know, the 42nd Ohio, I don't know, regulars? Volunteers, right? We're all volunteers, damn it. Volunteers. So, if you ever study like Gettysburg, Gettysburg's a fantastic history of the United States, basically just going at it. And think of this is like, this is one side of the line and this is the other. And like this could be, any historians out there, this could be Pickett's charge. Right? And Pickett was just like, fuck it, man. I'm going hard. We're going in. And, the 42nd Ohioans, they just absorb them, just cut those motherfuckers down. Just watch their limbs just being torn apart as Pickett's just like, nope, you're my zombie army. You do as I say. Off to the death you go. Right? And just carnage. But what happens if the 292nd Alabama are completely destroyed? Well, the 42nd Ohioans, they're fucking overjoyed that they survived, and they just go apeshit. Rape, pillage, carnage, you name it. So, in a weird sort of way, you can kind of see this as sort of like a battlefield. The lines are drawn. And whoever wins the battle, they're going to carry the day. And they're going to carry that inertia. And I hate to say it, folks, but like I've seen this in stocks. I saw this in a stock this past week. I don't even, have you ever heard any analogies of what a soldier is like in the middle of a battle? And let's say they've murdered maybe like 5 or 6 other enemies around them. Maybe they have parts of their guts on their sleeves, and maybe they even have the taste of the blood in their mouth, right? I mean, I'm talking war and death and murder. Can you talk rationally to a person like that? Does it even make sense to talk rationally to a person like that? No, absolutely not. Hate to say it, but I think that that's actually a function of sort of the human condition. And you might argue to a certain degree the same sort of thing. It's what's so weird is it's like we're mathematical, and it's kind of like the algorithm just takes over and it just has to do what it does. Here. How do you explain this? A piece of shit, penny stock, doing absolutely nothing, halted. What's so funny about this company is they went into the blockchain space. Fuck it, we're going to be Bitcoin miners. And they got into Ethereum and all that shit, right? I think that was back here, right there. And of course, 2017, oh yeah, we're going to be so fucking rich. And then 2018, 2019, no, we don't want to be we don't want to be in the Bitcoin business. We want to be in the gold business. We're gold miners. And it was so funny. I even called up the company, and this son of a bitch, little punk ass fucker, obviously didn't know who the hell I was. And the funny thing is actually I know the guy who is running this stock and the company, and I've done deals with him in the past. And the guy on the phone was just some punk ass bitch out of fucking college who just, I was going on in the site. I went into the CIBC bank branch the other day, and this little punk ass motherfucker immigrant actually had the audacity to start giving me attitude. And they don't even have bank tellers there now. I mean, this guy's like maybe 20, 22 years old, and he's just full of piss and vinegar and just the worst attitude possible. It's almost like CIBC's like, okay, let's put these punk ass losers at the front of the branch. And that will just encourage all the people that used to come into the bank and do banking in person and stuff. That'll just encourage them to never come back into this branch again. I think that's actually what their plan is. So this story here, this is absolute chaos. And you call up the company and the people on the phone, they don't know what the fuck's going on. So all of a sudden crypto starts coming back to life, and they're like, no. We're still in the Ethereum business. Yeah, no, we're still there. No, we're not going into the gold business. And I'm like, well, but didn't your punk ass bitch just make fun of me for being in the crypto business and how only stupid people are mining crypto and how it's impossible to make money in that? Oh no, well, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not with the company anymore. Fuck, what a joke. So anyway, they reorganized the company, and now they're back into the crypto space. But what was so funny about this was, of course, I pick up just cheap stock. That's what I do. I buy against the bottom end of ranges. It's just what I do. And it was funny watching this thing come back. There was so much built up energy and so much chaos. And of course, with crypto and all that kind of nonsense that's going on now, it was incredible. So keep your eye on this. There's like a double foggy level right up here. And what was fascinating about this, and this is what I'm trying to teach you this here today. Very long-winded, and my apologies, probably a complete waste of your time. But what was so cool was, the market went out on this here, right? And I saw these foggy levels, and, I'm just sitting there going, well, we just banged up another one. You know what? I'm going to just, first off, don't put your order at the foggy level. You got to put your order just slightly below. Let the market trade to it. Don't put your order at or above, or you're just going to get missed. And it was incredible watching this, because I'm just sort of sitting there in the lounge, and it was like this thing, it didn't have any choice. And I was even watching, like, as price action was going. Let's see if this works. Yeah. So as price action was going, first off, the stock was only a nickel. Like a week or two ago. Only a nickel. So who in their right mind is actually buying this stock at 50, 60 cents? I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. And of course, if you're a technician and you're watching that, clearly you go, gee whiz, this market's kind of getting overextended. Who the hell is coming in to buy this? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, the company itself, okay, fine. Maybe they're in the blockchain space. But what I saw here, and I watched the order book, it would be like hundreds of thousands of shares on the offer. 500 shares on the bid. And boom, out goes the offer. And watch. Comes right into the foggy level, and that's it. I couldn't believe that. And you couldn't explain that to anybody. How do you explain what just happened there? It's just absolutely incredible. And like I said, I was watching the order book like through this process. I can guarantee you nobody at the company had any clue what the hell was going on here. It was just like the computers had just taken over. And this was predestined. Like I said, what is that Army guy gonna do after the 292nd Alabama just folded, and he's won. Well, he's going to go and rape and pillage. I hate to say it, but, in trading terms, right, this is rape and pillage, just straight line. And, if you can figure out this logic, man, there's just a ton of money to be made here. It's ridiculous. Can you see? How do you explain why this asset went there, stopped on a dime, and came straight back down? How do you explain that? I don't know how you explain it. So it's so funny sitting on like social media and watching all these YouTube videos. Remember Kathy Wood, she knows that a lot of this is just purely the algorithms taking over, and the poor kid who buys her fund right at the top and is like, why aren't I making money? And she's going, well, actually the stock coming down here, that's a good thing. Because she knows it's not sustainable. In fact, the one stock that actually there's two stocks that she likes, and when she touted them, I think her name is Kathy Woods, very popular, who knows, but she had two stocks. But this is what I really want you to get out of all this, people. If somebody's touting a stock, okay, cool, wonderful, awesome, maybe it's a great idea. But that doesn't mean you go out and buy it today. I mean, is it a good idea if somebody talked in the media about buying this thing here in the 70, 80 cents? Hell, even by the end of the day, you're fucking down like 30%. How do you explain that? I mean, I wouldn't really get into this. This is just nutso VSE penny stocks. And trust me, if you do not like anxiety when it comes to trading stocks, do not touch these VCIMs. Do not touch penny stocks. Do not buy cryptocurrencies. I mean, they're all basically venture capital. You got to know what you're getting involved in here. So anyway, back to our story. I thought this was really interesting. Like I drew up a chart of this, and I said, well, I remember when the tout was on. There is last spring. There is last March. There's the market bottom right there. Is there a letter of the alphabet that this fucking idiot on YouTube keeps barking about that if you want to buy, look for this letter? No, we're going to call them BB bombs from now on, AB. If you want to make a reference to Faugenbaum, you got to call them the BB bombs. No more of this sort of giving names to setups to other people and other entities. From now on, this Beamish guy is going to get famous, and everything that I do is going to have my name on it. I'm sick and tired of people taking concepts of mine, doing them wrong, and then, shilling the shit out of them. It just pisses me off. So, I'll make it a little easier for you. What letter of the alphabet does that look like? Anybody on YouTube, can you answer that question? Hey, Rocker, thanks for posting the image in the lounge there. Appreciate that, man. Bip-bip-bip-boom! Hey, Graham. We could call it the Wookiee bomb. I don't mind. Yeah, you will always have a place in my heart, sir. Hey, if I could get little old ladies out of Arizona to actually swear in conversation... I've won. Because, I don't know, a month or so ago, I was like, go to this website, buythefuckingw.com. Nana, please. Nana's salty, though. So, mind you, man, I remember my grandmother, my stepmother's mother, she was a character. Man, she was full of piss and vinegar. She was diagnosed with cancer. And as she was walking out of the hospital after getting the diagnosis, she was reaching for her cigarettes. That was Nikki. She was a character. She was a nurse in the North Africa campaign for the Canadian Army forever ago. So the point here is that, as a good technician, you should go, okay, well, this doesn't seem bad idea down here. Or maybe, oh, well, okay, that's a big honking weekly W, but okay. And, actually, I see a lot of people on the site, they're super jazzed about things like Wyckoff checks right now. And that's perfectly fine as a trade location because, in essence, you're saying, look, I'm buying this W. So, Wyckoff check, I'm in. Some people like to call this a throwback. It doesn't really matter. But really, what you're doing is you're just buying that W on the retest of that level. But there's your buy. It's really simple. It's the favorite J-Lo alphabet letter. Oh yeah, J-Lo booty bottoms. Okay, I get it. But, this is almost funny now. Because when you look at this chart now, and especially off the dailies, I thought this was hilarious. What's staring us in the face up here? And look, you can see I've even written this up from before. Grim bought that actual website? Oh, that's hilarious. Thank you, Grim. That's awesome. So, this is the kick in the pants. Is Mr. YouTube guy, right? He I don't know. I think he got one of her minions or something on a YouTube call, and he's like, "What's going on? I bought her fund." And the funny thing is if you pull up the fund itself, it has the most beautiful Head and Shoulders top. So anybody who's a half decent technician, if you see a Head and Shoulders top on an asset, don't go and buy the goddamn thing. At least wait for one of these damn W things to happen. So I found it hilarious that, really, ironically enough, for a guy like me, there's not really much to do here. It's just sort of like, okay, you missed the story. The story was down here. And yeah, Kathy Wood's fund is invested in this. So as this thing's going up, Kathy Wood's fund, and she's going to love all this free advertising, her fund is going to go up. But then as this stock tops out, and yeah, you want to see something really ridiculous. Jesus, this stuff kills you. But gee whiz, what level 1784 do you think that is? And look where this damn thing stopped. That's insane. I don't want to get into the business of calling tops and bottoms, but this is nuts. You can't script this any better. Literally, you can't write this any better. That's just insanity. I can't believe this. So I actually put, and I don't know whether I tweeted it out. I think I just put it in the lounge. And actually, this is where I think I was going with all of this conversation today. Is how everybody's all super jazzed about these NFT things, and I really, really like the idea, folks. I have to find it though, because I think I posted it like on Friday or something. But I really like the idea. And I even put it out to the community. So we'll even reference this to the YouTube audience if you want to get involved in this. I don't know how we're going to do this, but I really, really like the idea that, we started down this Faugenbaum sort of funny adventure just about 1 year ago. But actually, I think this journey for me actually started almost exactly 10 years ago. In that I was living a life that I never asked to live, but I never questioned. And frankly speaking, I think the other side kind of like that. My wife, she suffered from mental illness her whole life. Poor dear. She ultimately succumbed to it. We were born with a severely disabled child who basically I had to walk away from my career to support the two of them. And never, I was internally bitter and internally frustrated, but, I came from a broken childhood myself, so I really hated the fact that my old man just fucking walked out when I was a baby, and lived sort of that surrogate sort of fatherhood, which is a joke. Well, not surrogate, that's not the right word. Absentee, that kind of nonsense, and left my mother in a horrible position. And of course, that left her really stressed out, so it led to her and I having a horrible relationship. But I do believe that this journey for me actually started the day that my wife passed away. So I put together a really interesting little piece because, interestingly enough, this Feigenbaum concept for me, I think actually represents more the end of a very long journey than actually the beginning. And what I proposed, because I probably could have done this with NFTs and stuff, is actually put a date marker on all of this stuff that I give you people, just so at least we have a record of where it was started, when it was started, what was the sort of foundation. And, a lot of people have told me that my charts, to a certain degree, are kind of like artwork. So I did up a chart, and of course now I can't find the damn thing. But I did up a chart with just a little write-up of me personally, sort of a personal message of what this Feigenbaum concept, like now we're going to call it BB bomb because we don't want some guy over on fucking some site hijacking it and bastardizing it. I mean, I don't really care if you want to use the concepts that I sort of teach in the courses, but if you're going to use it for yourself, for God's sakes, put your own name on it. And then, of course, if you do it right or wrong, I don't really care. It's your name, your concept, and, if you succeed with it, awesome. If you go down with the ship, great. Like, for example, I'm a fan of using 38.2s as sort of a initial pullback level for all markets. There are other people on the site they discovered that in a very strong trending market, that quite often the market will pull back to that 38.2 and then just take back off. So one gentleman on the site, he likes to call this his pump chaser zone. And he actually teaches people, look, if you want to get in, you can see there was a bit of a fight on this one, but in this particular case, 38.2 was not the final stop. It was just the first stop. But I love the fact that Colin goes, he teaches this to his people. If you're going to try and get in on a strongly trending market, keep an eye on 38.2 to 50%. And he calls it the pump chaser zone. And I go, okay, let's follow Colin's pump chaser zone concept. I want to promote him. But don't take a name that I've associated with a concept that I teach and then go and bastardize it and then I literally have to unteach people when they come to our site. No. That's not the way we use this concept. So anyway, for the record, damn it, I wanted to show. Does anybody have the copy of that damn chart? And this always happens whenever I want to show you guys something and I'm trying to find it. Do you guys have it? Did somebody put it in the lounge? You having fun, Colleen? You never know what the hell you're going to get out of this Beamish guy, eh? People are like, well, this is a different angle you're going down here today, Brian. But damn, where the hell's that damn image? I'm just gonna keep blabbing away until I find that goddamn image I posted in the lounge. Because seriously, what I think would be a good idea is now obviously we can't use Ethereum because the goddamn gas fees are so expensive. But I really like the idea of us creating some sort of NFT or some sort of timestamp on this document, and really, what I really wanted to tell you guys was that I honestly feel that this last concept was almost like one of the final pieces to the puzzle that I was missing. And it just helps explain everything so nice and just eloquently. And what's fascinating about this is how everything that I've done in the past and everything that I've somebody, thank you, Joshua. I can't find the goddamn picture. Everything that I've done over the past like 10 years, it's just become solidified with this one topic, this one concept. It just has brought it all together. And actually, I did such a nice little verbal summary of that, and of course now I can't find it. Damn it. I kind of wanted to put it out, and some people in the community are like, let's do this. Let's get a timestamp on this. Let's, at least for the record, because Brian's made a concerted effort to try and just come out into the public and share this with the world. At least let's put a timestamp on this. So then that way we can go back and we can always see that timestamp is there. And anybody, 10, 100 years from now can go back and say, well, this is the day that this guy figured out the goddamn stock market. Because I'll tell you, man, this is the secret to everything. And it's interesting because I even first learned about chaos theory, good 10, 20 years ago. And the guy who's running Interactive Brokers, he said, oh, well, I trade exclusively chaos theory. And then people are like, okay, can you tell us? And he's like, no, it's my secret. Fuck you. And so I've completely changed that thinking. Completely. And now if you use chaos theory, and if you use this concept and you make money from it, you have a moral obligation to pass this on for free to the next guy. No excuses. No charging. I did this all for free. Now you have this tool. And I mean, fuck, if this guy understood this goddamn chaos theory, this guy wouldn't be moaning about, hey, Kathy Woods, why is my fund going down? Well, it's going down because it hit the goddamn chaos level and it's done. And you were an idiot for coming and chasing. And it was funny having Colin on the, I think he was on the Thursday Daily Brief with Julian. And Colin was just going, this is ridiculous. Every single market, every single pivot is a perfect foggy tag. This is insanity. So clearly we've stumbled upon a huge secret of the universe. But my request to you is, this was my gift to you in the universe. My request is, don't hoard this. Don't be a secretive, shiller about this. Don't be like, well, I'm only going to teach you if you buy my newsletter kind of thing. Just give it away for free, and it's shocking how the universe will reward you. So, anyway, rant. Wonder how the hell Brian's going to go next. The irony of this name is I still want to invest in this company, but you could see exactly where I want to invest. Brian's not really in any hurry, and the irony of it all is I think that all I got to do is just be patient and disciplined, and eventually this son of a bitch will work right back down to the POC. Funny thing is, Colleen, can you see what's going on here? Can you see the battle at value high? So you should be able to understand exactly what's going on here right now. Isn't that cool? Like, you would have never understood that before knowing me, eh? You can, believe it or not, like actually a schooled technician can look at this chart and understand exactly what's going on here. This move here is actually perfectly natural. It's not out of the ordinary at all. Did anybody, why is it I can't find that goddamn image? Did anybody find that screen share? Remember, Ryan, are you around? Remember you even said on Friday, you know what? Totally, let's do that. I mean, I want to show these public people what it is I was talking about. You want to see something just fucking, okay, now, here's the fun sales pitch for TRI. This is ridiculous. So about 4 or 5 years ago, I hooked up with this one gentleman. I know, I should have an NFT and we should do it, but I gotta find the damn image. I posted it in the lounge, but I keep scrolling through the lounge and I can't find it. Anyway, all right, so we did our little U.S. Civil War reenactment. Oh, there was Pickett's charge. Oh, geez, poor Southerners. Just got slaughtered. Which is ironic because I think the Southerners were actually supported by the banksters. So, poor Southerners, if you were a unionist, if you were a believer in the Union and a believer in the Constitution of the United States of America, if you were a believer in freedoms, if you were a believer in this dream, then you wanted to see Pickett's charge fail and you wanted to see those cocksuckers get murdered. And they did. And the funny thing is, literally 10,000 Southerners got slaughtered there in about the period of about 15 to 20 minutes. 10,000 young men just slaughtered. And people actually get upset because some guy knocks over a liquor store and kills the teller with maybe a baseball bat or something. We humans, we're so fucking hypocritical. It's ridiculous. The hypocrisy of this species is staggering. Oh, it's okay to murder here, but it's not okay to murder there. Oh, come on, you stupid species. Anyway, back to our story. What was I going on about? Oh, yeah, I wanted to show you. This is so cool, man. This guy, Stuart, I ran into him a few years ago. He loves PHP, and I think his big goal was, I'm going to show those goddamn C++ and Python people that you could build stock trading platforms using PHP, which is totally awesome. I am an aficionado of this concept called breadth, and I really like using breadth to trade the market. It's a very difficult... Hey, did you get it? Hey, got it! Okay, stop, full stop. We'll come back to this in a moment. Okay, so, once upon a time, about a year ago, right, I was watching videos on YouTube, and this is the extent of the conversation about Foggenbaum. Now, I don't know anybody. I have not seen anybody. Yeah, I know I did, Joshua. I got it on the screen now. Thank you, sir. I never seen anybody, YouTube, social media, cryptocurrencies, stock market, JP Morgan, fucking Joey Diamond standing on the stage in his little sling. Oh, be empathetic to me. Fuck you. That was a total con. Oh, Bitcoin's a fraud. Excuse me, JP Morgan is a fraud. Bitcoin's a fraud. What a joke. Anyway, and of course, nobody will ever hold him to account for saying that, eh? What a dick. Anyway, so about a year or two ago, I'm sitting on YouTube videos, and this is the extent of chaos theory, Foggenbaum, all that kind of stuff. I never heard anybody ever connect this number and that number and that number, and then what happens at that level with actual price charts. Never seen it before. Never. So I, in my great wisdom, just simply conjured in my own head. I said, well, I've been working with this site and, kind of like this 10-year journey. Connected things like, I think we all know the fib ratios backwards. We could probably recite them in our sleep. Hell, I came on sites like TradingView and actually corrected their fib studies because they were wrong. And not necessarily wrong in a mathematical sense, but wrong in the way traders use fibs. So the point that I'm trying to make here was one of the modules that I teach in our course program is this concept called point and figure charting. I doubt any of you on YouTube even know what a point and figure chart is. But one of the key concepts in teaching that is understanding this concept called the horizontal count, which is a way that people 100, 200 years ago would be able to, point and figure charting was a way for them to track a lot of assets very easily in relatively little work, but also, too, things like the horizontal count method actually gave you pretty good realistic upside objectives just by simply postulating that each and every single trade you see in this range here actually is meaningful. And the back and forth of buyers and sellers actually builds energy in this asset, in this vehicle itself. In essence, like the asset, the more it trades back and forth, you've heard me say, and let's see if any of you on YouTube can finish this line. The longer the channel, say it again, the longer the channel, 1, 2, 3, 4 words. I'm going to fill my coffee up. Let's see if any of you can answer that. The longer the channel. Oh, coffee! Oh, no. Oh, goodness. Can't win. Anyone? Coffee! Coffee, coffee, coffee. What he said. The bigger the run. Very good, Sedona. Just some apes running around, procreating, eating, and defecating. Hey, there you go. There's an image. Actually, have you ever heard of the cradle of life, Sadama? They actually have pinpointed the exact place where we went from apes defecating to slave labor. And it's actually a place in Ethiopia called the Cradle of Life. Now that'll blow your mind. Do a little bit of digging into that. But we're not supposed to be talking about that kind of stuff. That's against the rules. All right. The longer the channel, the bigger the run. So, in essence, the more an asset consolidates, the more energy is built up. And then when that energy is released, how is that energy expressed? And that's where Mr. Foggenbaum comes in. Think of this line right here as that initial burst of the market trying to leave this consolidation zone. And it will naturally have a bunch of energy, but that energy will be dissipated over time as other influences come into the market. But like for here, for example, this happened to be a trading halt, so it's halted forever. And then the trading halt's lifted, and hey, where it turns out we are in the cryptocurrency space, and boom, stock jumps. Notice we banged into this foggy level and then had to sort of calm back down. But actually, if you look at this chart, you could argue there's a W forming from way over here. All the way it goes like down, up, down, and all of this is one big honking consolidation. And on the breakout here, if we can confirm above 20, well, that means all of these foggy levels all start coming into play. So think of these as like the initial one is like boom, bada boom. Then boom, bada boom is the next one. And then boom, bada boom is the next one. But once we start getting up into here, can you see that there's going to be other factors, and the energy that was sort of coiled up in here, it's dissipated. It's played itself out. Now you might actually have some clowns like Beamish going, you know what, maybe it should be selling into strength. Well, that's not this bullish story. That's a guy actually bearish. He's selling. Or maybe, this thing's moved awfully far. Maybe that's market manipulation. We better bring some regulators in here to inspect. Maybe we'll even halt this stock and stop trading altogether. I don't know. Point here is that once you get to this point, you can see whatever the push was, it starts to dissipate and it starts to lose energy. And in essence, I might make the argument, now I haven't figured this out yet, exactly which stop is which stop. But what I've noticed is that once we get to 877s, and this sort of brings us back to sort of like Bitcoin, is once we get back to 877s, I notice that the energy really starts to just really trail off. And I wonder if... I think I had it up here. Nope, this is my stock market one. Sorry. Where are we here? Crypto. Up here? Yeah. I'm wondering if there is some sort of correlation between parabolic moves and the way price acts when it goes parabolic and 877s. I noticed here, just recently, I was making reference to it just a minute ago. Oh, that's weird. I lost one of my studies. But Kvark, he actually guessed, and, hats off to him. He guessed 55,000 for our top call. And I noticed that the market ran up. There's also another foggy here. I guess I have it off a different chart. Damn. But... fudge. Oh well. I had another Bitcoin chart here that had two foggy levels on it. One right at 55, another one right around 5. I don't know what I've done with that study. Obviously, I've destroyed it. And I noticed that the market was just banging back and forth, back and forth. You know what? Probably if I go, let's see if I do this. Will this work? Because I remember I edited this thing. Come on, you. There it is. Haha. I knew you were around here. So, have a couple foggies. Bang, bang, bang. And I noticed, look at the nice little war that developed through here. And now we've tried to resolve through the top. So, interestingly enough, there is bot levels. If you remember, I was talking earlier that I thought there was a half decent trade there. If you, snuck in on the bot, or you're in here, stop to scratch, doesn't matter, you're going to make money. You're looking for this 70 plus area. But notice this, I thought this was fascinating. And years ago, remember I said 10 years ago, tons of different concepts. And lo and behold, I'm a huge fan of 1.618. It's called the golden ratio. 200% is head and shoulders. Think fractal, think sort of Mandelbrot kind of thinking. I like to call this extension off of this previous trading range. I like to call this my parking garage. And lo and behold, look how we got parking garage. And there's 8.77s. And interesting, like we've drawn this parabolic curve for quite a while now. Market is really respecting it. Look at that, doink, doink, doink. I adjusted it slightly, but I do like how this is working. And notice how it's literally going straight up into that event window. And the funny thing is I've been barking for about the past 2 or 3 weeks that I thought that these markets wanted to make a 1-year coast to coast. Now, I suppose if we did actually top there on the 13th yesterday, and that is the ultimate top, well, then my parabolic curve is out the window. That would be incredible if that was a 1-year coast to coast. I don't think so, because what I think's going on here is I actually think this has everything to do with the big quarterly options expiry and the risk market, and that's all about this image. I mean, this is a fucking freight train right now. And actually, it's encouraging, I guess. Gold actually did catch a bit of a bid. Bonds and yen are classic risk-off proxies. Gold's trying to hang in, but I think gold got whacked a bit on Friday as well. And then look at our risk proxies. They're all just orgy-tastic. So, I mean, I like that idea of the 1-year coast-to-coast. How do you explain this? This is not rational. This is not logical. I find it hilarious that people are actually trying to go into the market and get rational explanations for why Kathy Wood's fund went up like double and now is working its way back down. Why isn't it keep going up? And her even trying to school these people. Hey, my fund going down in price, that's actually a good thing. I thought that was hilarious. And he's probably sitting there going, but my account it's not going up. That's not a good thing. Oh, goodness. So, I showed you that silly, that's what this is, right? And then she has another one. I'm more than happy to buy this stock. I like this stock, but I'm going to buy here. I'm not going to buy up here. That's just injecting a little bit of TA into your life. She's also got another one, which I really like. I like these companies. I will be investing in these companies. But what you pay in the marketplace, that doesn't equate to whether you're actually in a good idea or bad idea. You might be in a fantastic stock and, oh, gee Christ, what is this? I mean, who could tell me? What are we supposed to think if you ever see the market smiling at you? I don't know. Can you see that? This is another one of the stocks that she really likes. And, of course, Mr. Fund bought the fund. He doesn't understand this really basic concept that if you ever see the market smiling at you, you better just at the very least just cool your jets. And sure enough, douche. I mean, the tragedy of it is hopefully you can see that you could really make the argument that this stock itself has been in a trading range since then. What is that? That's September. So for the past 6 months, really this stock has done nothing. Which is tragic, right? Because, there's tons of retail public that all came in. They're going to be long from all up here. And, of course, they're just praying to God that this thing stops being a range and actually starts trending again. It might, but I'll tell you, whenever you see M's in price, it's a good idea just to cool your jets. And, of course, the irony of it all is we could probably zoom out on this thing and tell you exactly where you should have been a buyer. Right? I mean, investors, I think you should be operating off of higher time frame charts. I don't really get any clean W's here. But, we kind of have down. But, they even pulled a nice little FU. Oh, and that was through, that says 2018. That's interesting. So this thing really tanked when crypto tanked there, right? So these guys must be highly correlated with crypto. I suppose you could make an argument there's a huge W, down, up, down, breakout. But this probably is a really, really good example of applying things like reload zones. And you say, okay, well, you know what? I've done my fundamental analysis, love the name, and I'm just going to throw my bid in. And actually, I did this on a shitcoin yesterday for the lounge yesterday. It was kind of funny watching the trade play itself out. I don't know, maybe you like gaps. Maybe you like dirty bottoms and you say, well, Brian, this was an old horizontal support and resistance level. I mean, wow, what a level. So if we do get to back to that level, I'll be more than happy to buy. So that's at like $11. I mean, even now at $42, I mean, that's like 4x. But, I don't know. Can you see Joshua's here? Joshua, can you remind these people how often do price gaps get filled in? And keep in mind, this is a weekly price chart. Does anybody on YouTube know how often do price gaps get filled in? And oh, gee whiz, there's Colleen's buddy, the POC. So now I can see two reasons. Now, what do you think the odds are that if we drew our reload zone off of this entire range, that's probably going to fall right in that area? Probably pretty good, eh? No, actually, gaps get filled in a lot higher percentage than that, Sedona. It's quite shocking how accurately that statistic is. But do you see how now actually I can see three very solid reasons to justify actually stepping in and spending some money. Gaps, POC, reload zone, Wyckoff check. It's right there. So, my suggestion, and I put out a message on YouTube, well, not on YouTube, but on social media, where I just simply said, look, stories are awesome. And hell, it's a Bitcoin story. But if you bought the Bitcoin story in 2017 at, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20,000, whatever, how are you feeling a year later? I mean, if you're a Bitcoin, what do they call them? Diamond hens, hodlers, whatever you want to call them. And it's so funny how each cycle, there's like a whole new sort of acronym list. I mean, I don't know who came up with this diamond hands expression, but I can absolutely tell you, anybody watching this video 3-4 years ago, nobody was using that expression. So somebody has created this expression, and now new people to crypto go, oh, diamond hands, you've been a diamond hand since forever. Well, okay, it's brand new language. Okay. Probably a lot like Beamishisms. I mean, take it for a grain of salt, or take it with a grain of salt. But that was a new one for me this cycle. Interestingly enough, you can actually see the trading range on this stock. Notice there's a gap up there. So, ironically enough, if I was a Wall Street professional and I was looking at this chart, I would say, well, why don't we look to let them have some up here and look to buy them back here. And you can see that's like double your money. You could easily just bang nice little doubles back and forth through here. So right now, looking at an asset like this, that's totally hands off for a guy like me. There's nothing to do here. And in actual fact, this thing could go either way. And, maybe you make a pile of money, maybe you lose a pile of money. That's not really the kind of investing I want to do. I want to, buy the goddamn W's, and so then I have, and this is kind of a dirty one, but we'll use it anyway. If I say, look, I'm going to come in on the breakout of this horizontal level, I'm going to risk to break a new lows, and then, maybe look to sell half on a double, whatever. At least I've identified a risk window. Okay, now I've got levels to work with. Coming in here, to be perfectly honest with you, my risk window is down against that low there. So really, I would have to risk to a break of these lows. And what that means, just to equal the amount of risk I have to take on this trade, I cannot think about selling this. Can't even consider it until at least $81, $82 a share. And that's just the 1-to-1. Remember, Brian, he wants you thinking 2-to-1 minimum. So what this really means is if I buy this stock here and I have to risk to a break of this low, which was those old March lows, and you see the gap, my hunch is it's going to test these lows at some point. That means I can't really take profits until we're way up here. What the hell number is that? $120 a share. I mean, it might do that, but hell, I think you tell me, people, is there easier ways to make money in this market? Try and find this. Okay, fine. I'll come in at the bottom here and I'll be selling on this. That's easy way to make money in investing. You could even look at this like right here, right? Let's go right there and say, all right, if I put $1 into this thing, we're going to do little old lady risk management. So we don't even give a shit. Maybe the thing goes right off the board. If I put $1 into this thing at 9 cents, what's it going to take? I'm going to risk 9 cents, so right down to 0. There's my risk window. Is it realistic to get that 2-to-1? There's 1-to-1. And actually, I guess 2-to-1's right into there. Is that realistic given what's happened here? Well, the funny thing is now you can say, well, I think so. Fast forward to today. Come on, hurry up, you silly. Oh, Jesus, terrible capitalism. All right, fine. Bang. There you go. So, ironically enough, at this point, I couldn't even care what happens to this thing. I am so laughing. But what price would that what price would that stock that we were just looking at a moment ago, what would it have to go to actually replicate this kind of movement? It'd probably have to be like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And if you have the patience and discipline and you've set up your risk model correctly, then you're not going to be asking Kathy Woods on a daily basis, why is your fund going down? Why does it have a head and shoulders pattern working? Well, if you want to do this kind of investing, you don't give a shit. You're going to have to wait for like $300 a share or whatever the hell that damn thing, the number it has to go to. Here's a great analogy of the way I approach the market. Andre, I don't know whether Andre's here or not, but this is investing in Italian oil companies. What? I have no idea why the hell I'm in this, but it did meet the VCIM criteria, venture cap, and you can see I've been in this thing a while, since 2019. Holy fuck, that's long-term investing. Bought at 6 cents. They reorganized the company, 10-for-1 rollback. Then they actually came out and they split. Oh man, we rolled the stock too far back. Then they split the stock 1 for 2. And ironically enough, my double price actually came in here at around $1. So I was pretty happy about that. And then look at what these sons of guns are doing. Now you tell me, looking at a price chart like this, does this thing have any chance to move up here? How often did I say gaps get filled in? Big gap. Look at this big gap up here. How you actually participate in the market is really actually going to determine what kind of money you make. If you can look at the market from this, believe it or not, seeing 100, 200, 300, 400% returns on your money actually it's not outlandish. But you can't come in on the buy side up here. You have to be selling on the sell side up here. And lo and behold, you can see I've got a couple foggy levels here. I've got my order working. I swear I thought they were going to take this thing up and give me a fill. Be interesting to see. I've got my order at 230, just underneath these foggy levels. Let's see if maybe Monday, Tuesday I can get a fill. It'll be fun to report this fill. I mean, that's just ridiculous. How do you explain that? It doesn't make any sense at all. But who cares? We're here to make money from trading. Ironically enough, if you actually look at this chart, actually it makes perfect sense. They're probably just going to go straight back up top here. Okay, holy rant Vegas, eh, Batman? Now, I was going to show you stuff. So, just to sort of finish that thought and where I was going with all this was... I have yet to see anybody actually officially online make the connection of now what have I done with it? It's gone. Sharky, I lost it again. Where is the chat? The chat should have this stuff here. There it is. Yay. I've never seen anybody make the connection of this image and price charts and how you actually put these fog and bomb levels on. I started out with 2.669. I will give full acknowledgement to Raf Rogowski. Sorry, Raf, I said your last name. Bobo. What the hell's Bobo's last name? I think that's half the reason why Bobo likes to go by Bobo is he doesn't give his last name. They helped me immensely trying to understand the math of 2.618 and 8.77. But what I've seen, and I honestly believe that, as I said, my wife passed away March 18th, 2011. I believe that actually I've come entirely full circle now. And I was given this 4.669 kind of gift about a year ago. And I even said through the time, like, I don't know what this is, so I'm not going to go out and sort of tout that I know what it is. I got to study this, and I have to see if I can actually use this and how do you use it. But I do believe I'm at the point now where, number one, I think we've disseminated this information to the universe, so it's no longer a big secret. Number two, I think it's incredible how these levels all perfectly align with other levels that I've worked with over the years. And I'm a big fan of this idea from Hoboken. I saw your comment, Sharky. I'm a big fan of this idea of confluence. And what I'm seeing while working with this is confluence. Kind of like what I showed you with Bitcoin, parabolic curve, parking garage levels. Gee whiz, here comes some big fat foggy levels too. How do you explain why the market went up to this level and then stopped, and you can see just completely melted away following that event? I mean, that's what you're here to learn, right? How to pick these levels and kill the market. So, I think we're official. I'm ready to start using this tool, touting the tool, and taking ownership of the fact that I didn't see anybody else do this out in the world, and I was the one who put all these pieces together and gave the world this gift. We'll see. As I said, I gave a challenge to the community. How do we take this image and NFT it? So then that way, if anybody down the road goes, hey, well, who's the guy who actually first put this chaos theory and these crazy levels and how we actually do this to come up with these levels, you can point them to this NFT timestamp. And also, too, I think it'll be a fantastic testament to Joanne. I believe, without a shadow of a doubt, she was actually instructed to come back. I don't think a lot of people get that privilege. I think that was an incredible privilege. I don't think that's supposed to happen. But the event was so traumatic, and I was ready just to kill myself too. I think the other side was like, whoa, Brian, you've got a bigger job we have planned for you. And interestingly enough, the only way I could go down this path was I had to lose everything. I had to start with absolutely nothing to lose because I'd already lost everything. I was a shell. I was dead. I mean, basically, I was a walking dead man. So they were kind of like, all right, maybe let's cut this guy some slack. But at the same time, too, her message to me, and I can still see her in my mind's eye right now. She said, you have the opportunity to make positive change, which I thought was so interesting. She didn't say, oh, Brian, you're going to go on to do great things, so don't give up. She said, you have the opportunity. And the reason why I remember this, and the reason why I know for certain that this happened, and it wasn't some sort of fantasy that I made up, she said, but Brian, you have to learn how to listen. And I didn't like hearing that, because you can hear even from these rants, I love to talk, I hate to listen. And I'll tell you, over the past 10 years, it's been a very humbling experience. Saying, I don't know. Because I had absolutely nothing to lose. I'd already lost everything. I was actually open to the universe giving me little treats. And as long as I didn't let the ego take over, as long as I kept listening, as long as I kept trying to make this positive change in the universe, the path continued, and it continued, and it continued. And it's interesting, like this past year has been almost like, it's cathartic for me because it's 10-year anniversary. But also, too, it feels as though I just gotta say it. It's gonna be hard to get out, but I have to say it. It feels as though I actually now can give myself permission to be myself again. To have an ego. To actually think about Brian first. Which, all of you on YouTube watching, none of you even knew me. Fuck, man, I used to be a son of a bitch. I was a fucking commodities broker. I was a fucking pit trader for crude oil. I was a penny stock shiller. This is the kick of the pants. If you knew me in my past life, you probably wouldn't have liked me very much. It's just so funny. But in a weird sort of way, I feel as though that there's a number of catalysts that are all happening around this 10-year anniversary that are sort of saying, okay, Brian, I think you've done your job. You gave back to the universe. The universe has treated you. I see the market very clearly. Sadly, of course, I see the insane emotion that's going on with people in our society. Ironically enough, I'm trying to divest as much as possible. I don't want to be a bag holder. I don't want to be caught. I can see massive traps coming, but at the same time, too, I'm a student of history, so I understand what the 1920s, the 1930s, and the 1940s look like. I know what the 1820s all the way right up into the 1860s look like. This is going to be a very tough couple decades for the human species, in my opinion. Try and remember this, especially if you're really, really young. Maybe you'll be able to live through the end of this century, and try and pass this message on to your grandkids. Because I think that the message was lost. And, the bankers, everybody's like, oh, conspiracy theory. Maybe that's part of their plan, why they don't teach this stuff in schools. But try and remember that, it's not an accident that they called it the Gilded Age through like the 1880s and the 1890s. And trying to, remember and think about, the First World War was in essence all of those empires hitting their apex right around the end of that century. And then the first couple decades of the new century, it's just a big fucking shit show. Well, here we are, folks. 2021. We are in the middle of the shit show. I really do like the idea that Bitcoin itself has worked as an excellent hedge. I suppose you could have just gone and bought your house and just owned the house outright. That worked as a pretty good hedge. People have bought stock, and I trade stock, so I get like exacerbated returns. And actually, this is a great segue. So I do feel as though me being sort of like I'm gonna be here every single day. And I'm going to be doing like 3-hour videos where I'm just going to be driving and pushing. Those days are probably coming to an end, folks. If anything, I still have my eye on that property in Hawaii. And actually, the guy who's the Big Short guy who did that, he's been buying water rights across the United States like crazy. He figures the next big crisis is in water. Zach's got this property in Hawaii that I've been eyeing, and they have these incredible rivers and streams and waterfalls on it. So I have a funny feeling, especially if the silly crypto market does what I think it's going to do here through this summer, maybe by the beginning of next year I might even be thinking about relocating over to the island. Sorry, everybody. I get a little verklempt there, and I talk about actually giving myself permission to actually live. it's tough, like I haven't for 10 years. I have not given myself permission to actually think about Brian. Think about Brian first and say, hey, no, I've waited for this. I've been patient. Enough is enough. Now, one thing I'm super, super excited about is this gentleman that, oh God, Trudeau, David Davis. This guy's always, I swear, if there ever was a guy who stokes the fire, whenever there's something, hey, let's poke this hornet's nest, David's right in there. So now he just wants to poke me a little bit on my leader here. Thanks, David. Appreciate it. Hey, so, honestly, I'd love to NFT this just so it's on the blockchain somewhere. Maybe we use Ubic and it's nice and cheap. We don't have to pay the huge fees for ETH, but I would love to just have that as a permanent record on the net. Brian Beamish is taking ownership of a concept that he worked really hard to bring to the public's attention. And now I see this concept used everywhere. And it's fantastic. And I don't want any payment, but I just would like it on record somewhere that this was Brian Beamish's contribution to the technical analysis world. I don't know. Call me crazy. A boy can dream. But what I wanted to show you, and this is where I think TRI is headed. If you woke up in the morning and you got in your email a nice little list, and I was just going through the screeners this morning of names that looked like that. I don't know whether you can see that on YouTube. Does that look like a name that Brian Beamish might be interested in? This is the 200 SMA all the way up here. I tell you, if I got that in my email, I'd go, fuck it, man. Just go nanny nibble that thing right away. And then if this thing actually reverses back up here, go add some more. How about... actually, this is the chart on TradingView. I mean, look at that. Jesus Christ. If those W's come in fact, actually, the W's already did fire, right? So, I mean, that's a buy. I don't know what's going to happen, but Jesus, it looks good. How about this one? Look at this. This was the same signaling system from 1, 2, 3, 4 days ago. Would you have liked to have gotten that in your email? And how would you feel right now? Oh, look, it's hit the 200 SMA. Remember, I showed you that other one. There's the 200 SMA sitting up there. I mean, this is incredible. I couldn't believe this when I loaded this up this morning. I mean, wouldn't you pay a couple bucks for just to get that a nice little summary of these in your emails first thing in the morning? And you just go through the list. Look at that cute little one. Oh, that's a nice little signal. There's 200 SMA. How about this one? Hey, there's the crazy letter of the alphabet that Beamish guy's talking about. And there it goes, working its way up. I mean, they're just constant. Look at that son of a bitch. And you can see, you can't even argue that, oh, well, actually, the signal came in, but you couldn't take the trade. The thing was sitting there for like 2 days, and now all of a sudden, here we go. I mean, it's just incredible. This is a zoomed in look of VIDT. Look at that signal. I mean, that's perfect. That's exactly what you want. Beautiful little W there to buy. How did this thing do? Oh, it turns out it's just, that's the signal right down in here, right there. How do you think that did? That's not bad, eh? I tell you, I think we've done it. We've made it. How about this one? Look at that. I mean, you can see it's just sitting there. You can't even say. This is an interesting one. This is a leveraged proxy on Cripple. You know, it's the Cripple up proxy. So I'm not saying Cripple's going up or down. But what I am saying is there is a W that's already working there. We're basically at the bottom end of a trading range. Is it worth maybe throwing a couple bucks at this thing and just risking this W? How often did we say gaps get filled in? I mean, the interesting thing is the guy watching that YouTube video, this is the kind of information that he wants, right? Kathy Woods comes on and says, well, actually, it's a good thing if you lose money buying my mutual fund. No, it isn't. It's never a good thing to lose money. It's just he doesn't understand market timing. And he doesn't understand the idea that really you should try and force yourself to come in at the bottom end of ranges. How about this one? Look at that. The signal came in there. Look at that W. And just bang! Up to the 200 MA. Oh, God. It's just incredible. And it's just name after name after name. Look at it. I even posted. Just sitting there. Look at this signal. This is insanity. You can see it right there. And this is the best part. That's that fight I was showing you. This is the best part about this is that the signaling system, you set up the criteria you want, and it will keep track of the signals. And you can see, well, yeah, actually, it turns out that was a half-decent signal, wasn't it? Is that worth, I don't know, in this stupid Fugazi world, I don't know, like $50 a month subscription? I'd say so. I think you'd probably make $500 right there on one trade. And somebody's just like mind blown. It's just an absolute gift. Can't believe how lucky we are. We are so lucky. And now we have like Feigenbaums to now give us like the perfect selling levels. It's poetry, people. So what I think is probably going to happen here, believe it or not, is I'm actually going to try and turn TRI over to the community because I think it's about time. Remember, the whole purpose of TRI, and this is going to be very hard for you to understand, the whole purpose of TRI was not to make Brian rich. I think as a crazy side effect, I will become quite wealthy. But remember the video game, right? This is like I've had this concept of things like the breadth of the market, and this is a cool little side effect. Where the hell's the site? In that the breadth of the market actually will help you immensely just be on the right side of the market. You remember there were some people in social media that were getting super bullish at crypto there 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I got quite upset about them. Do you guys remember that? I don't know if anybody remembers that or not. That was basically we were ramping up through here. And I was getting very upset. People were saying, trade location doesn't matter. Indicators don't matter, right? You know. You people on YouTube, do you remember I got quite upset? So the point of the breadth indicator is to keep you out of trouble. And if you can just force yourself to wait for the broader market to turn back up, and this is the great part about this tool, right? As because this isn't really taught anywhere. Sort of, Richard. Actually, interestingly enough, the German actually got bullish right through here. And actually, believe it or not, that wasn't that bad of a call. It's just I really didn't like the tone. I mean, you're a professional money manager. You should not be shilling referral links. People are looking to you as for guidance. And I really dislike that angle. And so I got upset about that. In later videos, I've actually given him shout-outs. It was a half-decent trade. I just didn't like the attitude around the shill. But there were people that about, a month or so ago, people were coming in going, indicators don't matter, location doesn't matter and stuff like that. And I got very upset at that. But this is a fantastic tool, that's what she said, to just keep you honest and keep you on the right side of the market. And indeed, they're, beginning of March, probably like the first week of March. And if we could scroll through this, you would actually see the double bottom that came in on the bullish percentage index. This gave us just an absolutely killer signal when the market was going to turn back up. And interestingly enough, if you go back to your Bitcoin chart, No, not that one. That was, if we go and look at the levels, you'll see exactly the date that came in. It's so cool. I mean, like, this is next level trading. This is taking your trading from sort of shooting darts. I don't know what the market's going to do to, hey, look at the market's actually turning here. You better get in. So there's that March 2nd. In essence, the corn started to turn up. All the internals started to turn up. Remember I said Mr. German guy got super bullish here. Nice call. I mean, fucking A. But what was really interesting was right through here, this is where the breadth indicator started to go uber bullish. So we can use this tool as sort of like, all right, cool. We're getting signals that the market is happy again. And then, of course, you got the Joshua McGowan over there. And what I've told him, and this is what I want you to do going forward when you're using this tool, Sharky, is I've created actually a really cool, and I was messing around, and I didn't want to get the video going until I got this going. But you create like this will be one of the dashboards members will have. And this basically is the entire universe. And what's so cool with Sjord is he's already has hourly algos already running. So he actually hasn't gotten to the point where they are a widget themselves, but this will basically update on an hourly basis through as day trades are churning away. But in essence, we can pop on a page like this. You can see what the breadth is, so you can position yourself very quickly. You can be like, well, okay, crypto's doing this. Okay, so do I really want to come in on crypto? What's the bullish percentage? Okay, well, actually, we're getting kind of old here. In fact, actually, we're starting to get some overbought indications. Interesting how we're getting overbought. And also, too, if you watch this bullish percentage index, if we go and M out here and break below this low, that's actually a sell signal. And, of course, does it make sense? What's the public feeling right now about crypto? Are they coming in hard on the buy side? I think they kind of are. So you should actually look at this kind of image right now and go, I don't know, man. This is looking a little old. I mean, look how far apart the moving averages are. Maybe we want to wait for a W out of our bullish percentage. But if this starts firing bullish, then like I said, you go back to your dashboard. Where was I? Oh yeah, because I hit the back button there. On your signals, right? The way I would do this is I would just scroll through the entire universe of everything you can possibly invest in and look for those bullish percentage turns. And obviously, couple it with the breadth indicator. Does it make sense that the market has a rally window here? Then you're going to come down, right? Bullish percentage is pointing up. You're going to do your little matrix, and you're going to you're going to point your algorithm at the winners. Now, maybe we get a sell signal in the stock market. Maybe we get a sell signal in crypto, bullish percentage, all that kind of stuff. Well, then you're going to be firing your algo at the bottom performers. Does that make sense, Joshua? So that's one way you can use this tool. Another way, of course, you just take fucking Sjord's hourly setups. I mean, that's just sitting there. Can't wait to demonstrate that to you. Then, and this is the coup de grace, all those images that I showed you, these are just simply nothing more than just pre-built screeners that we will share. And you guys have heard me talk about how I love key reversals. I showed you a bunch of charts that were doing things like 9 EMA crosses on rising volume and things like assets. I showed you the 200 period moving average below 50% rules. I mean, this is just an absolute gift. We're still working a little bit on weekly data. For some reason, the weekly data is giving us a little bit of problems right now. So this is still in the works. What'll be really great about this once we get these weeklies is this is a beautiful way to understand trend in the marketplace. And, ironically enough, you should be able to pull up Bitcoin and see exactly where Bitcoin actually started to trend higher. And this will tell you. It's not quite firing now, so I can't really comment too much. And, of course, weekly key reversals. If you ever see a weekly key reversal, that is the most biggest monstrous signal you'll ever see in your life. Daily key reversals, still working on the reload zone. So unfortunately, it's just key reversals anywhere. Setting up bullishly with a 50% rule, substantially higher than current market. I showed you all those charts with the 200 period moving averages as targets, working great. And then just simple, pure, raw momentum plays. Excellent shopping list for you to pull up any kind of day. I mean, hell, let's see what this CRV looks like. Well, makes sense. You know, 1 low, 2 lows, 3 lows. Who can tell me what kind of setup would Brian Beamish, pit trader, be thinking there? I don't know. Anybody? The bot! Very good, right? You can even start drawing downtrend lines. You can see if we break up through these moving averages. Basically, the cool part about this is, in essence, the system is just giving you, okay, well, pay attention to this one today. And if we go, and my hunch is if you pulled up your TradingView chart, you threw on your fibs, what do you think the odds are the bot entry is probably right off of that triple bottom level? I'd say probably pretty damn good. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Is this place going to be worth like $50 a month subscription to kind of get this information handed to you on a daily basis? I think so. And that's just with the way I use this. For the God motors, and keep in mind there's a million ways to skin this cat. For the God motors, and I think we're going to make this like a super duper subscription, and it's going to cost some money. But in essence, we have a number of different site members who actually build their own screeners. I don't know whether you guys know Alex. Obviously, you guys know Da Vinci. Senna from Netherlands. There's no reason why all of you can't build your own screeners and screening systems. And of course, if you build a screener and it works, do you think I'm going to want to use your screener? Fuck yeah. But how about other people? So the great part about it is if you do a God mode type membership where you can actually build your own screeners, and that's using this engine. And I mean, hell, what's so cool is like Sjord's done like total pre-built. So, like all these little tools, they're already in the system. But if you do pay for this kind of subscription, if you build a screener that works, there are people that will want to subscribe to your screener. So this creates that network effect. And if we can pull this off and we can decentralize this entire platform, then in essence, the world can take over. You people can take over. You can work together. Pay yourselves for the screener information. I mean, fuck, if you want. I mean, I just showed you there just a few of my screeners that I've built, and I'm going to be trading these things 24/7. You might want to subscribe to Brian's screeners. Maybe you want to just subscribe to the basic site screener dashboard. The sky's the limit. And the great part about it is we should be able to make it so that the more effort and the more time that you put into building better and better screeners, the more the community rewards you for your hard work. And that's really where I want to see this website go. I want to see it be less about Brian Beamish and more about you. I know we have some beautiful programmers here on the site. I know you guys can build screeners that will make me blush. Well, screw them. We're going to do it our way. Maybe we will be in competition with them. Who knows? I'll tell you, Sjord is one damn fine programmer. I don't think, I've been in the computer industry, I think you could technically say, since the mid-1980s. I used to program in Pascal. Well, maybe that's that NFT, Andrew. I know Sjord, he was super excited about the NFT, and of course, he's gone and made an absolute fortune in crypto here recently. So congratulations, Sjord. Sjord gave everybody LTO and Luna on the site, and even in the public, I think people actually took his picks, and holy moly, those two have done really well. But if we could create, I've put the challenge out to Shane to get off his butt and actually build one of these things. Kevin said he could build one of these relatively easily. Seb, I think, already has one in operation. Go and use my Faugenbaum NFT picture as sort of a template, like a precedent setter to set the mark. Maybe I'll buy it. I don't know, just to make sure that it works. And then let's build the site off of that. Decentralized, community sponsored, community content, both daily videos, maybe even these weekly videos, setups, screenshots. Kiran wants to build a co-op prop firm here at TRI, which is just absolutely incredible. There's so many ways we could take this. The sky's the limit. But the most important thing here, I think, in my eyes, this now stops being about Brian Beamish and 3-hour YouTube rants, and this becomes more about TRI and the community. So just understand over the next 6-8 months, that's probably the direction I'll be going. And if anything, what I'd love to see is maybe I'll even create my own YouTube channel, and TRI pays me for the content that I provide to TRI through, however all that decentralization works. I'd love to see that. That would be perfect. All right, so rant. No idea if I actually gave any of you any value today, but sure was fun talking. Also, too, I do like these videos as sort of a verbal diarrhea. It helps me sort of just get out sort of my angst and my anxieties. So thank you for indulging me. We didn't really have any questions today. Oh, you bastards. Now, at the end of class, this isn't fair. At the end of class, we asked whether there were any questions today, and there weren't any. So that's why I gave myself permission to do this rant. So I'm just going to blow through these. Hi, Brian. Can you please go into detail on how to search for a VCIM? It's damn difficult. You're going to have to go on the TMX Money website. And you can probably do it down in the States, but I primarily hunt these in Canada. You can probably also, there's probably paid services. Hell, if you work with a full service broker, they probably do this research for you. But the very first thing you want to do on something like this is they have they used to. They might have gotten rid of it. I know Andrew, my buddy here locally in Vancouver, he... Oh, yeah, I don't even know whether I see it here anymore. He actually hired somebody to create scripts that go out and scrape this information. But the easiest way... Actually, well, maybe they still have it. Let's see. Oh, God, what's all this? Yeah, I haven't been back on here in a while. But the easiest thing that you're going to have to do is just simply look for stocks that have low share counts. No idea how you do this. Looks like they probably want you to subscribe to some advanced feature. They used to have the most beautiful screener, so I get the distinct impression that they probably want you to pay for that. So as a result, this might be a bit difficult to use now. But like I said, first things first, you just want to find stocks with low share counts. They've got market capitalization. That could work. But this doesn't really show number of shares. So I'm not quite sure how that would work. So, as I said, first things first, you want to just figure out number of shares out. And, the number we ideally want is somewhere around 20, 30 million. Yeah, don't even see it here. I mean, maybe somebody else has figured this out since I was last here. But I don't even see the shares out now. Assholes. Hate how they do that. It's I suppose it's probably very similar to what we're doing with charging a fee for our screeners. I guess everybody wants their cut in this world. Yeah. Probably you'd have to just go through this and try and figure out if you can create a screen with number of shares out. I don't even know. Book value per share, that's a good one to have. Are you out of here, Colleen? Take it easy. And you're just going to have to go in and look for the criteria. Then once you have your list of rolled back stocks, low shares out, then you go and look for the criteria in the individual news releases that's listed in the VCIM. It's really that simple. It's not really rocket science. I think, if anything, the tone that I get out of these kind of questions is you want me to actually do the research myself. And I'm not going to do it for you. You have the list. You want to make it to the level 3 program and join our advanced trader programs and all that kind of stuff. Be grandfathered on the site. Great. We pass that information around freely. If you want to do the digging on yourself, it's all laid out in the course. It's really, really simple. Volume impetus, I can see everywhere. Bull, bear, falling asleep. So I think I've missed something. No, probably actually that's probably pretty accurate. Like something like Bitcoin, the fact that it's zipping up so high and it's on very light volume is a little bit concerning. Let's do just a random coin here. Loom. And let's go boom on the loom. So, volume impetus, pretty straightforward. You can see how everybody went to sleep. You can see the bears kind of went, hey, look at me, right? And you can see, well, price didn't really do anything, but it started to go down. And bears just really didn't. Everybody's just, and then all of a sudden right here, hey, look, green volume. And that was that bar right there. And then no bears, very quiet. And then, oh, look, more green volume. Bullish impetus. Look at your indicator. It's pointing bullishly. Right there. It's above the moving average. You can see it. Higher green bars. There. Great bullish impetus. The bull's in charge. And sure enough, which way did price go? So, really good example. Here we are now. Where did the bull go? So, as of this point, oh, I'm a bull. And then everybody looks like they're falling back asleep again, and price is just drifting. We're still in an uptrend, right? Higher highs and higher lows. So for this actually to turn into a downtrend, we'd actually have to see the bulls actually peter themselves out. Go watch the videos, 3 lower highs, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And then you'd want to see the bears wake up and take over to show that, hey, sellers are alive and dominating. And then, of course, you want to look at the bullish and bearish impetus, and you just want to ask, does the OBV actually correspond with the signal? If they don't, then maybe it means there's a mixed message. If they do, then I would definitely pay attention. So, it's pretty straightforward. Again, go back, watch the videos. Ask again next week. We'll do another one. Okay, how do you handle LOL positions if you already have established a free look? Well, really, I don't give a shit. It's that simple. I just do not care. What's this? I love these Sunday night rants. Helps me prep for the week. Oh, that's good. Crypto Cotter says, I just paid $3K. Do I get some sub time on all that? Hee hee. I don't understand what that means. Subtime? What's subtime? If you join the education program, then I'm sure any of our instructors would be more than happy to touch base with you. The great part about guys like Sharktoshi and Grimm, I mean, they've got the patience of Job. Kevin also, right? I mean, they're great people. Kiran, sweet as pie. Marat, just a beautiful person. So we've got a huge staff to help you out, and they're all OGs. They all know this stuff. They're all traders themselves. So I'm not quite sure. Can you articulate your question a little bit better there, Crypto Cotter? Right. If anything, you should be in the lounge chit-chatting away. For whatever it's worth, the screener subscriptions, we haven't got those models up and running. This has been our big push for 2021. And our goal is we would like to have 250 site subscribers at that $50 a month subscription level. That is our big goal for 2021. I think we can hit it. And based on what I showed you, I think throwing like $500 for a year subscription at that to be given names that pop constantly, I think you can make that $500 back really quickly. Okay, so back to this question. If I've sold a position or half on a double and my whole goal was just to keep recycling the money, I might go and reload on the position like I did with that mana. Perfect example there where I took the original capital and I put on a second car. But if you do that, you got to understand, well, you're in just as much risk position as if you put on the first car. It's the risk is exactly the same. If you keep that money aside, sell half on a double, LOL, and a little old lady, Nanny Nibbles. Sell half on a double, get your original capital back in your hands. Well, then great. There's no risk on the rest of it, and who cares? I mean, I don't care. And I see a lot of these things that I have no risk. They go off the board, poof, gone, zero. Balls, remember balls? UFO, that was a great one. I mean, there were tons of these silly nonsense cryptocurrencies. And all the fluff, it all disappeared. Not really a big surprise. I do find it interesting that Trex account now is, and we're only, 2-3 years away from that 2017 peak. It's now sitting at about, on a comparative basis, about $400,000 or $500,000 now. So I think it topped out at about 7 or 8 into that mania. So here we are back up about 400 or 500. And remember, I already took 150,000, so I'm including that 150,000 in cash. I'm including that in the total. I suppose if we had just left that in the Bitcoins, the account would be just staggering level now. But anyway, so back to the point. The point was not to make gazillions and gazillions of dollars. It was just to simply demonstrate this LOL principle. So if I do sell some half on a double and I just don't care about the rest, well, then I just don't care about the rest. Will I continually sell as long as it keeps doubling? I'll keep selling half? Sure, why not? I mean, the fucking market's paying you. Do I have to? No. And actually, a great example of sort of the incredible flexibility this strategy gives you is I did a mana trade here. This was killer, where I went and little old lady, right, take low risk, sold half on a double. What I do with this, who cares? In fact, what I was thinking of doing was just taking the coins and going buying property in Decentraland with the free coins. I mean, talk about a way to use an actual asset for tangible net worth. That's not bad. But, fuck it, I'm lazy. Market comes back down, and I'm like, man, why don't we just take our money and we'll go buy back a second car. So now I got 2 cars on. Now this one, I could have sold half on a double and gotten a free position, but honestly, I kind of just forgot about it. And lo and behold, yesterday I pull up the mana chart and they're going fucking crazy. And the irony of all of this is that the level that it sort of stabilized at was my next sell half on a double level. Not a coincidence. So I let that half go. So now I booked 2 doubles on this one. But then I looked at this trade and I go, well, actually, I never did sell half on a double. Fuck it. Why don't we sell half on 4, I think it was like 4.5x. So do you have to sell half on a double? You don't have to. It does leave you in an incredibly powerful position. You know, in this case, this original investment, who cares? Yeah, you're underwater on your original investment. But who cares? It's free. And then, you know, Brian has the audacity, fuck it, if it's down there, I'll just go and put my original money back in and buy it again. And I just got paid big time. I mean, this was a 5-figure profit for TRI. That's not so bad. On its way to Foggy. Who knows, eh? Maybe. Oh, goodness. So there's 100 different ways to trade this. Really, ironically enough, the most important thing is just we got to figure out what actually works for you. Maybe you're a sell half on a double kind of guy. Keep it really simple, and I don't think just orders are automatic. I tell you, the less you think in this game, the hell of a lot easier it is. Maybe you're, well, you know what? I want to sell half on a Foggy. Okay. What's actually the definition of a good trader? That's really a good question. Is the guy who sells half on a double, is he more right or more wrong than the guy who says sell half on a Foggy? Not really. What is most important here is before you ever put the trade on, you've clearly identified where you're going to buy or sell, short, where you're going to take profits, and where you're going to risk to. You know, little old lady, you can risk to 0 if you want to. Point here is all of that is clearly articulated before you put the trade on. And then, ultimately, how do you actually determine if you are a half-decent trader? Let's see if anybody can actually answer that. It's a really simple answer. Any of you over on YouTube? How do you actually determine whether you're any good at this trading? Excellent, Waleed. Head in the right direction. I want you to be more specific, though. More specific. How do you actually determine whether you are actually a half-decent trader? Come on. Work here, people. No. It's not about that, Zachariah. Yeah, that's good. That'll help you. JD says journaling. I mean, that's a support tool. There you go, Tanjay. I haven't seen you in a while. You still living in Surrey? I might be moving out to Poco. Ironically enough, yeah, but Zachariah, you're throwing darts all around the dartboard. You're doing great. You're throwing darts in the right direction, but maybe you're not hearing the most important thing here. And Tanjay said it. There you go. Andre said it. Believe it or not, the only thing... Well, I mean, you can swear if you want, Bugra. The only thing that actually determines whether you're any good at this or not is if you actually do what you said you were going to do. Other than that, you're just a fucking degenerate gambler like every other YouTube shiller. Sorry. It's brutal reality. Guy's sitting there. Kathy Woods, what should I do? Well, actually, it's a good thing you're losing money. That's a good sign. That's not a trader. That guy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, And really, the sad part about it, most people lose money at this game. It's a brutal reality. You better accept that. Most people lose money at the game of investing. Why? Because they won't do what they said they were going to do. Now, as I said, to start this video off today, a lot of people in the market, they don't even know what to do. So how can you fault them? Nobody's taught me how to do this. Nobody's taught me how to play the video game. How can you fault me for not doing what I said I'm going to do? I don't know what to do. So, I mean, that's half the battle, you know. And if you don't know what to do, get your fucking ass in the school now. And by the end of it, you will know what to do. And then I can actually judge you as to whether you are actually a half-decent trader or not. Can you actually do what you said you were going to do? And believe it or not, most human beings cannot. That is the brutal reality. I learned about my beloved wife. I've learned a lot about, like, even my business partners. Most people in this world cannot do what they said they were going to do. And that is disappointing. Because I don't live that world. I can't see that. If anything, if somebody says they're going to do something and they don't do it, I look at them like they're a piece of shit. Not another human, but it turns out that actually most humans are shit. Hey, well, there's a cool analogy. I don't mean to shit on you people. But if you can actually do what you said you're going to do, then maybe you can actually be a trader. But if you can't, then do yourself a favor now. Don't go down this road. All right. Let's quickly wind this up here because, hell, I got to get ready for Liam. I got to leave here in about half an hour. Brian, can you please quickly explain a Wyckoff check? Yeah, actually, we did a Wyckoff check there this morning on Kathy Woodstock. Where is it? Kathy. I mean, just so you understand why I have kind of fun with Kathy Woods is that she is a very specific fund manager in a very specific part of the market. And every different part of the market, every different angles, they will have their day in the sun. It's just the way the market works. Some small cap fund managers, when small caps are all the rage, they will kick ass. When commodities are all the rage, well, the CTAs and the commodity guys will kick ass. When large caps and growth or value is all the rage, well, then those funds will kick ass through that particular market. That's just the way the market works. So, you know, Wyckoff check, right? Hopefully you can see the big W. We walked through this earlier. Down, up, breakout, key support level. A tag of this level, in my opinion, would be a Wyckoff check, and that's a buying window. So, let's see if we can just find any that are sort of working away here. This one might be. Actually, this is a pretty good one. So you can see market bottoms, rallies, comes back, it tests the breakout point, and then turns back up. So this is a Wyckoff check. And in fact, actually, I was doing this with the level 3ers. Really, this is all part of what they call the Wyckoff markup process, where it's kind of like how capitalism works. It's kind of cool that he gave it to us in a nice little summary. Let's see if I can find it here, though. Oh, there we are. So you could consider this right here as a Wyckoff check. Market breaks out, comes back, it checks the original breakout point, and this is like often a reload zone. Pump chaser zone. You've heard all that kind of stuff, right? Market rallies, then pulls back, and this should check this high. Again, another Wyckoff check. And you could argue same thing here. But notice that this check, it rallied back away, and then, we actually failed, and now we start the whole process going the other way. So this mark here is a Wyckoff check. This mark here is a Wyckoff check. This mark here is a Wyckoff check. And interestingly, this mark here is a Wyckoff check going the other direction. Hopefully that helps. All right. Can you please explain when to use log scale? And it's probably too much for this conversation here. I want to wind this up. Can you explain how to draw chaos levels? Well, I just talked forever about that. I don't really have it as a teachable subject yet because I think what I have to do is I think actually what I have to do is I have to go back and I have to teach candlestick patterns first. I think I teach Fibonacci retracement levels first. Because chaos is all about resolution of the fractal concept, which is part of that Mandelbrot conversation. And interestingly enough, which is part of, of course, our candlestick module. And of course, chaos is nothing more than the Mandelbrot set turned on its side, which is really freaky. So I'm not going to really go into this today. It's a little too complicated. And if I'm going to do a tutorial on this, I want to do it right. I do see a lot of people just going bang, 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 and just sort of pulling numbers out of their asses and shit. I don't even know whether they're doing it right or not. So I don't really want to teach this until I know for certain I'm actually doing it right. So sorry. From B to C or from C to D? Yeah, I would measure me C to D. That's the most important in my eyes. Because in essence, this is a bear, so the bears are in control. This is a bull, dead cat bounce. Bulls are in control. Now, at point C, this is where the bear said, enough bull, you're a bear. Point D is the point at which the bull said, enough bear, you're a bull. And so the war is on. And as we consolidate through between C and D, the resolution of that expresses that pent-up energy in those chaos levels. So actually that's a quick explanation. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it at that. I've been talking way too much. Got to go get pretty for the boy. Yeah, by all means, if you got some value out of today's rant, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, and all that kind of fun stuff. I'm not quite sure what any of that crap does. We don't get paid for anything. You guys got some value for your time spent here. Enjoy. By all means, if you want to pop in to the site and take advantage of our 30-day trial, we've got that in the go. And of course, like I said, screeners coming down the pike. And to answer your question, Cotter, no. So I know you guys are going to try and grind us and say, hey, we put a lot of money into the school program. Do we get the screeners? Sorry, you do not. As the school member, the school will have its own sort of default school dashboard that will include level ones. We have like the old free screeners from, Dav, his silly screener. On the community, where's the community page? I guess that's over on screeners. Right, we have some community built third-party and community screeners. These will be included in things like actually I will not be including key reversals, that's for damn sure. But really basic screeners like things like the Golden Cross, the Death Cross, DAV's signaling system. Interesting, actually. Key reversal should not be in here. These kind of screeners, the way I want it to evolve is that students that come on, they will get a very specific student dashboard. And as I said, as you work through the school program, it'll have things like your trade journal entries. So obviously we want you working on that right away. And it'll have those basic sort of level 1 screener kind of tools in there. And then as you go through level 2 and level 3, as more screener tools come up, but they will be sort of like strict dashboard. But to be perfectly honest with you, we have invested like literally 3.5 years of our lives. We have invested, easily hundreds of thousands of dollars in this development. We're not going to give this away. Sorry, Cotter. You want access to these kind of pages, this will be a separate subscription model. Like I said, $50 a month. If you're banging out doubles and triples, you can pay for that very, very quickly. And then, of course, as I said, if you want to actually get to the point where you can build your own screeners and then, get remunerated for the screeners that you built by other site members who subscribe to your screeners, then this is going to be like God mode that we're going to have. And this will be actually a fairly expensive subscription. So I'm not going to, remember earlier I said, Cotter, past 10 years of my life was just giving you everything. I gave my business partners, I gave the public, I gave everybody my soul free. I just wanted to give it away. Now you're going to get to know Businessman Brian, and there's no fucking way I'm giving this shit away for free. It's worth its weight in gold. Sorry, there's your very curt, polite, to the point answer. Okay, think I'm done. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. All the best. And the only thing left for Brian to say at this point is bye for now.